The Public Facilities and Safety Committee is now called to order. If you would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You know these are the only ones on this side.
Public notification of this meeting has been published, posted, and distributed in compliance with the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act. May I have a motion and a second for the approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
And may I have a motion and a second for the approval of the minutes for March 27th, 2023?
Got to adopt it first.
Oh, I'm sorry. With the motion and the approval, or the motion and the second for the approval of the agenda, do we have any objection to the approval of the agenda?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, moving into the approval of the minutes from March 27th, 2023. Do we have a motion and a second?
So
I'll
moved.
make the motion.
Second.
Unless it's-
Any objection to the approval of the minutes?
No.
All right, no objection. It is approved, which will open up citizens' comment period. Is there anybody that wishes to make a comment for issues that are on the agenda? Seeing no comments, I will close the citizen comment period and move into the agenda items. Agenda item 7 is recommend approval of an ordinance amending ordinance 2022-45 by removing the property located at 68 Helmsman Way with TMS number R552-010-000-0309-0000 and other matters related thereto. Do we have a motion and a second?
Well, I'll make the motion.
Second.
Is there any discussion regarding agenda item 7?
I have a question, Mr. Chair. So my question, this is great that we did due diligence and found this, but who does own the property? Since it's not Hilton Head, like God, or who owns the property? I don't know. Pretty much.
With working with staff, we did research the property, and I have reached out to SCDOT. They are the proper owners of the property. They owned it when putting it in the Cross Island Parkway. At this time, the SCDOT, I've also worked with them to provide the county with a encroachment permit. So we do have all access rights to the property, and we're looking to work with DOT on a permanent lease situation with that property as well.
Great, thank you.
Are there any further questions? Is there any debate? Without any objection, this will pass.
You're going to move it to the council, right?
And we'll move it, does this need to go to the council?
Yeah. I think we'll make it time is of the essence. It'll be on the agenda tonight.
Okay, and this will move to council for full approval and the first reading. And moving into agenda item 8, recommend approval of an ordinance to amend the Beaufort County ordinance regarding road use fee. Do we have a motion and a second to open up discussion?
I'll make the motion, Mr. Chairman.
A second.
Do we have any discussion? And Mr. Fralix, are you going to present on this?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, myself and Eric Clausen and Tom Kevin have been working on this. So this is a road use fee. This is not a development impact fee. This is an amount of money that's placed on new registry of vehicles each year. So when you register your car and renew your taxes, there's a $10 fee, or it was $10 fee, that goes towards the maintenance of county-owned roads and facilities. So this, if you recall, there was a court case that came up in Greenville County, Burns versus Greenville County, about whether the appropriation of road use fee was a legal action or not, or whether it was a tax. That was in 2020, and during that time, we had already had a road use fee, and because of the timing of that lawsuit, it was retro, I think back to 1997 is when the court case was dated. Greenville County road use fee was initiated. We had a road use fee that was grandfathered to that. Actually started in 1972, so that's pretty progressive, I would say, from Beaufort County to have a $2 road use fee back in 1972, and then in 1993 it got increased to $10. Over the years, there was updates in 2012, 15, and 2015, and it got adjusted up to $16.67. when the Burns case came in, because our road use fee was older than the case fee that was under question, we revised ours in 2020 and went back to $10, which was our fee in 1993 prior to the 1997 case. So at that time, we've been waiting to see how that turned out. There's been legislation that's been approved that is allows for the road use fee to continue in a modified state. So that's what this ordinance is describing, the new characteristics of the road use fee. So the $10 fee was producing about $1.6 million. We use this road use fee for multiple things, but one thing is for dirt road paving. And we have a yearly contract that goes out on a 5-year paving plan. And we use a lot of the funds that are generated from this for that funding for that paving plan. So what we're recommending is increasing the fee to $20. So up from the original $16 that we were, and we went back to $10, now to put it as $20 as the revised fee. And that would go in effect, and then we would, our generated, approximately $3 million would be generated for that fee. So that's kind of the background and history, and if you have any questions, we can answer from there.
If I might.
Yes.
Jared, thanks for the presentation. What is the purpose for the increase? I mean, we have an inventory of dirt roads that are in the pipeline for paving. Then we have additional dirt roads that are to be paved in the future.
That's right.
And so we have the tag funds already in place, and then we get tax dollars from the state, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so the tax dollars from the state is from gas tax, which is CTC. So two different sets of money. In the past, there had been CTC and tag funds were used interchangeably on different road projects, whether it was resurfacing or paving the dirt roads. CTC has been more inclined to spend their funding on resurfacing of roads as of late versus dirt road paving. So a lot of the funds, we've been using tag funds for dirt road paving, but other things as they come about. So the increase, the reason for the increase, as you can guess, so the cost of construction has increased over time. And so this is just bringing that current. So we have a 5-year plan that, based off the previous amount, the $16, we were collecting about $2.5 million. And that's what our 5-year plan, every year we put out about a $2.5 million contract. So to stay on that same, we get about 2 miles or 4 to 5 roads accomplished with that 2.5 miles or $2.5 million. And with today's cost of construction, to keep that same pace, that's the reason for the increase to get to $20.
So this is not going to speed up the process of getting all the dirt roads?
No, this is just going to keep us at the same steady rate. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I had a question.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Can you tell us again how many miles of unpaved road there are in the county still?
So
71, I believe it is.
Okay.
I have a question, please. So in your project narrative, it says, last sentence, neither the current road use fee nor the proposed increase will generate revenue that would meet or exceed the cost of maintaining and improving the county's road system, as it is detreating, which I had to go look up that word, faster than the county can fund.
I think that was a legal term. Detreating sounds
Yeah,
like a legal
I
term.
looked it up. Yeah.
So basically what we're saying with this road use fee, that it's keeping pace with our maintenance efforts on our county system. So that's in essence. And whether that's paving our dirt roads and maintaining in that shape, or whether it's miscellaneous spot improvements, but that's the intended use of this fee.
I just wondered why you, don't kill me, why you didn't increase it more,
Well,
since we can't meet the funding.
I think this goes back to that Burns case and the actual specifics of the use of the fee. I'm not the legal expert in the room, but I think that's the reason. And why not make it $40 and we get more dirt roads done? I think the intent is that it's not a profit center where we're making vast improvements. This is a keep roads in as good a shape as we can
And this will also be evaluated on an annual basis. So the idea that we're going from 10 up to 20 is quite a bit to bite off. So again, as this is evaluated further into the future, we can make those incremental increases.
I really appreciated all the detail in the ordinance, which I would encourage anybody listening to really read all of this, because I knew we had over 700 miles of road, 77, all that, but it's very interesting to see how it pans out with excellent condition, good condition, fair condition, and it shows the need to do this. So it was good information.
Thank you.
Mr. Glover.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the request being made at this time. We went from 16 down to 10, and now we're going up to 20. And I think I was really disappointed with the Greenville lawsuit, but it happened where we were able to at least retain on to the 10, so I'm glad to see that. I've been very impressed with the CDC and y'all effort. And dirt roads is really hard pressed for my district, particularly in Mr. Dawson's district, because we're in the greater rural part of the community, but it is also on Hilton Head, et cetera. So I understand that. So I am with this funding. I'm hoping, like you said, Eric, you're gonna evaluate it to see whether we need to increase it. We're not trying to overtax people, so we'll get back into the game. So I'm going to support the motion, looking at evaluating for the future, and then we'll go from there. But your goal was to eliminate dirt roads, and I think this is an effort, and I know you're going to do everything you can to reach that goal, Jerry.
Well,
So-
and this is one funding opportunity. So
Yeah,
there's
it
other
is.
funding opportunities out there, but this is, any project has multiple sources of funding, so if we're gonna reach that goal, there's probably need for other funding sources, but this is a good step in that
Yeah,
direction.
okay.
Are there any further questions or any more discussion? Seeing nothing more, is there any objection to moving this on to county council? All right. It will move forward to county council. And moving on to agenda item 9, recommend approval of a resolution authorizing the demolition of structures and funding for demolition of structures on Beaufort County-owned property located at 2 Mullet Street. May I have a motion and a second to open discussion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
And Brittany, are you going to present on this? Would anybody like her to discuss this?
Two Mullet Street was purchased, it's a property at the end of Aljoy Road, that's the current boat landing. It was purchased from the current property owner in an effort to expand the parking lots and the parking, other infrastructures down there. In doing so, we had an appraisal completed. That appraisal did take into consideration the age and what was visually apparent to the appraiser at that time. So in doing research afterwards as to the current condition, Neil Desai has contracted with a consultant who has gone out there, and it is in the best interest of the county at this point to demo the current dock system, and actually, if decided appropriate, we can rebuild at that time. So if you have any questions on the engineering side, I'm gonna leave those up to Neil to answer, because it's not my forte.
Thank you.
Are there any questions for Mr. Desai? Is there any further discussion?
I like to hear him talk, but that's all right.
Yeah, do you have anything to say about it?
Yep, so we engaged a marine contractor who came in and inspected the structure. There was also a diving component where they were looking at the pilings, and based on the dive and also the assessment from the consultant, looks like that it would probably be extensively cheaper to demolish the structure rather than come and refab or renovate and whatnot. So a lot of the boards that are on the existing structure are unsafe to even walk on based on my visual inspection. So that's what's before you.
Any discussions or any questions or discussion? All right, seeing no, is there any objection to moving this forward to full council for approval?
No.
All right, it is passed and we'll move towards county council. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Mr. Desai, this is a personal, I should email you on this, but the conversation we had about the other boat landing on Ladies Island, reach out to that family member that you had in the past. There were some issues with the family, with health, et cetera, but I think she may be available, so thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to pass that on before you leave, Mr. Desai.
Thank you.
Agenda item 10 is recommend approval of a resolution authorizing the county administrator to execute mutual aid agreements regarding relocation of detainees on a temporary basis during an emergency with Aiken County, Allendale County, Charleston County, Colleton County, Dorchester County, Florence County, Greenville County, Hampton County, Jasper County, Lexington County, Orangeburg County, and Richland County. May I have a motion and a second to open discussion?
I'll make the motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
And is there a presenter on this one? I believe Mr. Robinson.
Afternoon, Council. How are you?
Good afternoon.
This is basically a renewal of our annual contracts. The difference with the MOAs that you have is that we've extended these for 5 years, where normally they're an annual renewal. Other than that, they're about the same. Is there any specific questions about the MOAs that you want to ask? So they're reciprocal documents. So while they are with 12 other counties, they also include the service that we would provide to those counties if they were in need. The same.
Using our facilities, you mean?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Have we used this? Do we use it during Matthew?
we have.
Okay.
We have transported inmates to other facilities, but we have not had, other facilities had to bring them to
Come here.
us, not yet.
And this, if approved, does not need to go to county council, correct?
I think it's a resolution.
I think the
Just a resolution.
resolution, so one reading,
Okay.
yes,
It
sir.
says send to full
All right,
council.
so,
It goes to council.
yeah, it does say recommend send to
Yeah.
full council for approval. Anyway, is there any further discussion or any other questions? All right, are there any objections to moving this forward to county council for approval? Seeing no objection, it will move forward to county council for approval. And moving into agenda item 11. Recommend approval of a resolution to approve the use of transportation impact fees for a contract award to WM Roebuck Incorporated for the construction of a temporary wood pole traffic signal at the intersection of US 278 and Cross Tree Drive, Gateway Drive, in front of the Windmill Harbor, using SCDOT's statewide contract, and the fiscal impact will be $500,000,
It should read up to.
$500,000.
It does say in the item
Yeah.
background, but yeah. I'll make a motion.
Yeah,
I'll
can I get a
second
motion in a
that.
second? Thanks.
Second.
And,
Definitely.
Mr. Greenway, are you discussing this one?
It'll be me. We're fast tracking this because, as many of you know, the Windmill Harbor traffic issue has been going on for many, many years. And with the additional delays of the 278 bridge construction out there, we reached out to Secretary Hall with the South Carolina Department of Transportation, and she consented to allow us to go ahead and install a temporary signal at Windmill Harbor, because once we do get the bridge underway, it's going to be a 5-year construction project, and we just simply could not ask the folks that live at Windmill Harbor to wait any longer to try to get out of their subdivisions. So this has been a long time coming. Other previous individuals have failed to deliver to this community, and I'm thankful for Jared and Eric for fast tracking this and expediting this through the DOT review process and getting the contractor on board here, so that whenever we do get our approvals, we can get started on that installation.
Are there any questions for
I have
Mr.
a
Greenway?
question. Mr. Greenway, so is there, I know we're still doing the 278 bridge project, but why, aren't we eventually gonna put a mast arm here?
We
So
are.
why don't we just jump and do that and not do the temporary
Because the mast arms can't go in until we do the improvements to
to the
278.
road?
Yeah, because they would be too back, the mast arms would be too far back from the road currently.
Okay.
Yeah, just a quick comment. I want to thank members of the executive staff and the engineering staff for moving this along. It's been about 10 years, actually, they've been negotiating to try and get a light out there. And I think that it's safe to say that it'll make the gateway, after you leave the bridge, a lot safer, and it will finally give the residents of Windmill Harbor a safer entry and exit from their community, because in traffic in morning and evening in particular, it's a dash for freedom out of that place. And sooner or later, there's going to be a tragedy. So thanks for the extra effort. Thanks for getting it out of the other project and making it a separate project. I know that everyone over there is very grateful for this to be fast-tracked like this, because they've simply waited so long. So I enthusiastically support this.
Mr. Chairman, I want to echo the same thing Larry just said, because it's been on the agenda for me since I got on council, so I'm glad to see some resolution coming to assist that area. So I just want to echo what Mr. McEllen said. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman.
Are there any further questions or discussion?
I'd like, for the record, to say, since I've been on council, and I didn't realize it was 10 years, but I knew it had been 9 years. So, yeah. Glad to see it happen.
Yeah.
Seeing no further questions or discussion, or is there any objection to moving this forward to county council? Oh, I thought we already did, sorry. Can we get a motion and a second to move this forward to county council?
I thought we did.
Yeah, I thought we did get it.
I thought Ted did.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. And then this goes forward tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the time.
It goes forward tonight? Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
Time is of the essence on this.
Yeah, it is, I know, yeah, I know.
All right, once again, seeing
I
no
almost got
objection
hit
to it, to
yesterday.
move forward to county council. Item 12, recommend approval of a resolution to approve the use of transportation impact fees for a contract award to WM Roebuck Incorporated for IFB number 053123, construction of mast arm intersection at Bluffton Parkway, Flay Creek Drive, and River Ridge Drive. And it does say fiscal impact $384,984.60. Do we have a motion and a second? All right.
We get a second?
Can we get a second on that?
Oh, I'll second it. This is right near me.
All right. Do we have any discussion? Is there any presentation on this particular item?
I'll just give a quick update.
Yeah.
This intersection, while we waited 10 years for the other one, this one's getting 2 signals in about a year. So the first one went in last year. It was a wood pole signal, so similar to what we're trying to do at Windmill Harbor. We put the wood pole signal in just because of the vicinity to the school, to try to get kids safely across and get parents out of that intersection. It was a warranted signal, so didn't have to jump through any special hoops on that one. So this is to put the mast arm signal in. There's just such a lead time to get those mast arms and those poles in that we did this in 2 separate bites. So the idea of bringing this forward right now is the construction on this intersection would happen over Christmas break this upcoming year. So with very little impact to the school at River Ridge Academy, that's the idea on this one. So again, it's to take down the mast arm signal and to put up the actual permanent, or take down the wood pole signal, put up the mast arm signal.
I do have one question. What are decorative traffic signal pole? A pole's a pole. Are we paying extra for having a decorative?
Well,
What's
so
that?
it matches the other poles that we have on Bluffton Parkway and Buckwalter, which are the black fluted poles. That's the idea on
So
those.
they're
So they're
painted.
just, they're powder coated black, they're fluted on the pole, so that's why they're decorative.
Okey doke.
All right. Any further questions or discussion?
Nope.
All right. Seeing none, is there any objection to moving this forward to county council for approval?
None.
Seeing none, it will move to county council. Moving into agenda item 13, recommend the approval of a resolution to approve the use of transportation impact fees for a contract award to APAC Atlantic for IFB 062323, SC 170 near-term improvements for the construction of capacity and safety improvements from Oakity Center South to SC 462. Fiscal impact $8,111,030, $8 million.
Approximately.
Approximately $8 million.
A little more.
Yeah, a little more than $8 million. All right, is anybody going to be presenting on this?
So this is the long-awaited 170 near-term project. So again, to look at these spot improvements, we're talking about a bigger project at some point along 170, but the idea on this project was that we were going to enter into a cost share agreement with the city of Hardeeville and Jasper County to address some of the safety and capacity concerns at spot locations along 170 from Oakadee Center South to 462. So I can run through any of the details that you all want, but really it's to add safety and capacity to the key intersections along the way. We are also incorporating a portion of scheduled DOT work up on top of 278 as well as the ramps to address better lane utilization up on top of the bridge. Currently, as you take the loop ramp from 170 around to 278, you have to merge into traffic. We're going to get that restriped so you just flow on. There would be no longer a merge point up on top of the bridge. So again, it will help with lane utilization, will help with flow, potentially help with crashes. So again, with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
No, I think we talked about this for a couple of years.
Yeah, we've seen
now.
this a couple of
So
times.
we're just moving forward with it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The plans have been done. They've been approved. They've been permitted. We worked out a cost share agreement with SCDOT on their portion, and we're just ready to move forward on the project.
All right, any further discussion?
Just like to say thank goodness.
Yeah.
We need
All
it.
right.
It's a
With,
mess.
with no further discussion, this will move forward to county. Is there any objection to moving forward to county council for full approval?
No.
All right. And that moves into our next agenda item, and I believe you already touched on it in your
Yeah.
presentation, which is recommend approval of a resolution to approve an intergovernmental agreement with SCDOT for pavement overlay and pavement marking improvements on US 278 and interchange ramps to be included in the SC 170 near-term improvements project in the county. Can I get a motion to second, open discussion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All right, any questions? I believe you touched on it.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. We're just moving up. We're able to expedite their project that they had planned last year into our project. Just, again, because the two projects marry together so well, it made a lot of sense to bring those two together.
Can I circle back, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
I just want to circle back to 13. Is that, Sarah, is 13 time sensitive? 12?
12 is time sensitive, so in the motion that you made, Councilman McGowan, and that Ms. Tabernick seconded, you need to state that you wanted to move forward to full council tonight as a time sensitive item.
And that's the contract for WM Roebuck?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's it, the master.
And that was agenda item 12?
12.
And so that is a time-sensitive matter, and it'll move forward to county council tonight?
Yes, sir.
Okay, gotcha.
And then,
13.
for the record, can we restate who first and seconded number 13? For this order of speaking, I didn't catch it.
I didn't make a note of it, sorry.
Number I thought it was tabbed in. Oh.
That's 14.
No, that was
I have you and Ms. Tabernick.
For 14,
but
right.
13 I do not.
I think Gerald, you were on 13.
Oh. You need a
I don't think
motion?
We have one.
Mr.
Okay.
Glover will take it.
I motion. That's number 13, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I think
That's the
McKellen
one that
seconded.
Stu Robin was working on for a long time.
Did you say?
Yeah.
I'm happy to second it.
Okay, thank you.
Now we got it.
We're a
Sorry.
team,
Good to go.
Partners.
Hey, only my second meeting, sorry, getting it down. Now we're moving into 15, correct? Mm-hmm. All right. Which is recommend approval of a request for private road acceptance of Masters Way. Can I get a motion and a second to open discussion?
Really?
Tom motioned that, can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
I'm like,
And is there going to be a presentation on this one, Mr. Fralix?
Yeah, just short, give you some background. So Masters Way, I think there's a diagram, but if not, I think I can describe it pretty well. So Masters Way is a short road about a half a mile long in between Bluffton Parkway and H.E. McCracken, which is right next to Hilton Head Christian, where they just built their new facility here recently. So over time, that property, as it was developed, I believe with the Pinecrest property, it was never deeded towards Beaufort County and fell into open land trust. As part of the Hilton Head Christian, for them to develop that and make access onto that road, they purchased that. And they have fully developed their site as well as made a signal that was part of their traffic impact analysis at Masters Way and Bluffton Parkway. So in action with our policy statement 15 and 17 about the acceptance of private roads or road acceptance policy for folks to petition Beaufort County to accept the roads, we have a full policy laid out in the procedures. So they made an application to Public Works Department. Public Works went out there and evaluated it, and then we make a recommendation from staff to committee and council on the acceptance of that road. So upon evaluation, the road is in decent shape. There will need to be some maintenance activities in the future years, but in general, this is a connecting road that is connecting county-owned public Bluffton Parkway to county-owned H.E. McCracken that has pathways on one side and is in a paved condition. So with that, with the evaluation in the field and the background on the road, we feel like it is a complement to our county-owned system, publicly used infrastructure, and make recommendation to committee that this be adopted and accepted into our inventory.
Are there any questions for Mr. Fralix?
I have one.
Yes.
Has this been, since I'm the liaison to CTC, are they aware of this? Since it says here, we anticipate rehabilitation in the next 3 to 5 years, because.
No, we haven't presented this to CTC. So more than likely what we would do is we would, in the next iteration of our evaluation of our road network, we would capture this road and then it would fall into the sequence of whatever our 5-year resurfacing plan would be.
Because I presume when 3 to 5 years when we have to rehabilitate it, which is a weird word, but it's going to come out of county money through the CTC.
Yeah, so based off our tag user fee that we were just talking about, their CTC prefers to put it towards resurfacing, so more than likely it would come through CTC when it's time for any rehabilitation. And rehabilitation can be anything from a small, thin lift of asphalt or preventative maintenance to a full mill and fill type operation. So this is in relatively good shape and has low volume of traffic as far as the type of vehicles that are being used. So the rehabilitation isn't, I think Public Works had $100,000 estimated, but so it's in relatively good shape.
All right, thank you.
Any more questions or discussion? Seeing none, is there any objection to moving this forward to County Council?
No.
Seeing no objections, we'll move forward to County Council for full approval. And moving into item 16, recommend approval of a contract award for RFP 050923, disposal and recycling services for construction and demolition debris and bulky waste for Beaufort County to Waste Management. Fiscal impact $250,000. Can I get a motion and a second to open this up for discussion?
I'll make the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
And Mr. Fralix, are you going to be presenting on this item as well, or not, Neil?
Afternoon, Chairman and committee members. So before you is the advertised for the RFP to award contract for what is called C&D, construction and demolition items, as well as bulky items that come to our solid waste convenience centers. And based on quantities that we have estimated, we are looking at just a little bit over 9,000 tons. This is a unit rate contract, and the preferred recommended award is to Waste Management to continue that service. Contract would be for 3 years with 2 additional 1-year terms for a total of 5 years.
Do we have any questions? Any discussion about this particular item? Okay. Seeing no further questions or discussion, can we move this forward without objection to County Council?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And we'll move forward to County Council. Thank you. Item 17 is recommendation of award for RFP 051023 yard waste recycling for Beaufort County. Approximately $185,000 impact, fiscal impact. And I see you still standing there, so you're going to be presenting on this one?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any questions or before we start?
So this is for the recycling of our yard waste that also comes to our convenience center. Currently, the contract is up for renewal, and we have 2 vendors. We're looking to add 2 more vendors that's listed there. The goal would be to have some flexibility in operations if we had some microbursts or storms, to have 2 vendors and to provide some additional services if we were impacted by those type of storms. Funding is available in the solid waste budget.
And I'm trying to make a note of it. Did we get a motion and a second on that one? I'm sorry, can we get a motion and a second?
I'll make the motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second it.
Gotcha. Thank you. Are there any questions or discussion?
I have a question. Do any of the municipalities tag on to this contract, or is it strictly county?
Strictly county, but if they wish to,
You could add them.
they could be added. They'd have to work it out with their current curbside provider and how all that relates.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, is there any objection to moving this forward to county council? I don't need to? Okay. It does say forward to county council for approval on the,
It doesn't need
okay. All right, so it's passed and approved. All right, item 18 is recommendation to award RFP 030723 debris management contracting services and a CERES primary and Crowder Gulf secondary contractor. We do have the presenter as Jared Fralix, but are you going to be presenting on it? And we can do, okay. Oh, can I get a motion and a second to do 18 and 19 together?
I'll make the motion.
I will second, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
So Chairman, 18 involves us engaging with a contractor if there was a named storm or a significant event that would be coming to the area. Our primary selection would be Ceres, and a secondary would be Crowder Gulf if we had to engage a second contractor. Item number 19 is associated with the debris monitoring contractor, which would be monitoring either of these contractors if we would engage. Per FEMA requirements, that would be required so that way we could be fully reimbursed.
This one will be expense if there is a big storm the roof cannot.
Correct.
Are there any questions or
I have one
comments?
for my own personal information. Can you briefly explain to me the difference between air curtain incinerator, which I believe I've seen on developments, versus controlled open burning, which is what we literally saw in Defusky? Can you
Yeah.
just tell me, when do you
Yeah.
decide which one?
Good
So
point.
there's different permitting process for both of those efforts. Open burn is basically a field that's been
You just light
designated
it
as a
up.
debris, and they start to burn. With that, what DHEC is looking at things of proximities to airports, things of that nature, the air station, and so forth and so on. Those designated sites are predetermined by DHEC and the county, and so we make sure that we get approval before we can do either of those. The other one that you mentioned, the air curtain, that's actually a machine that comes in to provide more of a controlled burn where there's less smoke, ash, those type of things that are
That's the
leaving
thing I
site.
see, it's like a big chute
It's a
and they
big
burn
tub,
inside
yeah,
and it goes
yeah,
way up?
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Any more questions? Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, is there any objection to moving this forward to county council for full approval?
No.
All right, both 18 and 19 will be moved forward to county council for full approval.
Thank you.
And moving into agenda item 20, approval of contract award to Beaufort Construction of SC LLC for construction services to construct a warehouse expansion of the voters registration building on 15 John Galt Road. Can I get a motion and second to open this up?
So moved.
I'll second.
All right. And Mr. Larson, are you going to be presenting?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. This is a project to award a contract for construction of an expansion of the voters registration building on John Galt. It's about an 1,800 square foot addition. If you're familiar with the building, there is already a warehouse space on the back, and this is simply to expand that, not quite doubling its size, but almost. Beaufort Construction was our one and only bidder, and their cost was, my tablet rotated on me, $358,000. We are asking for a 10% contingency that covers change orders or anything that would normally happen. That 10% threshold is the amount we can go up to before we have to come back to council for a revote. So we're recommending that contract to Beaufort Construction of South Carolina. Be happy to take any questions.
Mr. Chairman, just to kind of remind the public, if our memory's correct, this is to store voting
Yes,
equipment?
ma'am. Yeah, they not only store their equipment, as I walk the site with them and learn their operation, they work and calibrate and program the machines as well. And their current warehouse is so crammed full of equipment, they have no room to move. So they have to pull their machines into a different room one at a time. And so this gives them a little bit of opportunity to spread out and do multiple machines at once.
Are there any further questions?
Just a quick one. Lawson, you mentioned that the Beaufort Construction is the sole bidder.
Yes, sir.
What's going on?
We advertised, purchasing department assisted with this, obviously. We advertised in multiple different trade organizations that have websites and listservs, as well as put it on our website. We have the vendor registry program where all of the pre-registered vendors that normally do work with us get announcements sent directly to them. This is the only bid we got. It's just, right now, the construction industry is very busy.
Wow.
And there's a supply and demand issue, and the demand is much higher than the supply when it comes to qualified contractors. So this is the only one we got.
This is a small project for them to bid on.
Just a comment. Yeah, this is, in my opinion, an important accommodation for them. Their machines over there are sometimes stacked 2 and 3 levels high, so spreading it out like that will certainly simplify things for them. And it's not going to affect the security of the operation, this expansion. The security issues won't change because of the expansion. They're
Right.
controls of it, right? Everything over there will still
Yes.
remain secure.
Yes, sir, I'm sorry to interrupt.
It's okay.
The expansion comes right off the existing building. There's currently a single truck dock, and we're actually removing that dock and moving it to the side with this project, so there's actually no change in control. The building will have the same control it's got now as far as security.
Any more questions or discussion? Seeing none, is there any objection to move this forward to county council for approval?
No.
All right, this will move forward to county council for approval. Agenda item 21, approval of contract award to C.E. Bourne and Company Incorporated for construction services to renovate the interior and install a new HVAC system in the M.C. Riley Pool in Bluffton. Can I get a motion and a second to open discussion?
So move.
I'll second.
And Mr. Larson?
Yes, this is also a contract for construction, recommended to be awarded to C.E. Bourne. A little bit of background on this, if you're familiar with M.C. Riley Pool, over the last year or so, the county worked to replace the roof on this building, replacing the roof and a lot of the structural steel in that canopy. This is the second phase of that project, and that is to install a new HVAC system that will do a much more efficient job. It's a much larger system than ones that currently exist, and this will allow them to turn over air multiple times an hour to keep the humidity down and to keep the chlorine smell down. With this project, we're also removing the sliding open doors. This will be a climate-controlled, sealed facility, and we're doing other minor upgrades to the restrooms and some of the flooring surfaces in the administrative area of the project. We're using the Omni Cooperative Services contract. This is a contract that goes out statewide, and multiple contractors will put in bids. It's kind of like state contract, but it's not quite the same as state contract. They'll put in multiple bids and get awarded based on their prices. And so attached to this, you'll see a breakdown. It's a very simple general breakdown, but C.E. Bourne has priced this project using the bid items and the bid amounts, unit prices that are allowed by the Omnia contract. This is another tool in our toolbox that has been approved by council in the past, and it allows us to enter into contract with contractors, especially when the scope is unknown as this one is, because this project will probably have changes on the fly as we go through design and construction. C.E. Bourne, one last thing, C.E. Bourne was also hired through the Omnia process to do the structural roof earlier last year.
Okay.
So it makes them a logical person to continue to partner with on this phase 2 of this project.
Any questions, comments?
Just seems like we're spending a lot of money today.
Yeah.
That's
We're
all.
sending it to council to
I know.
approve.
I'll motion, take the first motion.
All right, seeing no further discussion or questions, is there any objection to moving this forward to county council for approval?
No.
Who seconded
It was Tab,
I think I did.
Oh, okay.
Glover and Tab. Agenda item 22 is the approval of contract award to Titan Construction Management for construction services to construct Phase 1 repairs to the Spanish Moss Trail Bridge near the Technical College of Low Country on Battery Creek. Can I get a motion and a second to open this?
I'll make the motion,
I'll
Mr.
second.
Chairman.
Mr. Larson, I believe you're up again.
Yes, sir. Another contract for construction, this one to Titan Construction Management. They are out of Florida. They were one of 4 bidders that we had on the project. The Spanish Moss Trail pedestrian bridge, this is the one located closest to the Technical College of Low Country, if you're familiar with that section of the trail. The project is 3 phases. This is the first of 3 phases. The bridge has 5 driven pile piers in the water, and then 2 driven pile indents on the embankment on either side. So the first phase is to repair the piles that are in the water. Second phase is the indents, which we'll bid out at a future date. And then the third phase is a reconstruction of the top deck with handrails and other fishing pier off of that. The project, again, had 4 bidders. Titan was considered the low responsive bidder in the amount of $172,000. Again, staff's recommended a 10% contingency to be added to the budget for that project, and we recommend approval. One typographical error, this will have final action here at the committee. It does not go to council because of the dollar amount.
Mr. Chairman, I had a
Okay.
question. What do you anticipate the next phases to next year, or?
Yes, we'll be able to bid it as soon as we get this one underway. We'll probably start working on the bid package. The reason for splitting it up, this has gone out for bid before and we had no responses. And you also saw that if you looked at the 4 bidders, the prices are all over the place. Each phase is a specialty in construction. Dealing with the piers in the water is much different than the indents and the handrail and stuff on the deck. So the problem we ran into last time is there was no clear prime contractor. And so we had subcontractors competing against each other, trying to be the prime here, but the sub there. And so we decided to break it up into 3 phases so that we got specialty contractors. So as soon as we get this one up and running and we know the schedule for completion on it, we'll start to put together a bid package for the indents, and that'll be later in this fiscal year, this next fiscal year.
Thank you.
We have funding for all 3 phases, so we should be good.
Can I ask a
Yes,
question?
absolutely.
Yeah, I know where this bridge is, and I know the other one that's toward the shopping center.
Mhm.
Yeah, does that bridge also need to be some
I
work
will-
done to? I mean, they're in the same location on the same river.
To answer your question, I do not know, but I'd be happy to get that information. Public Works Department actually is the operations and maintenance of the trail. The reason this got handed over to capital projects because of the size and scale of this repair.
Okay.
But I can get with Neil and we can give you
I'm
a
just
status
wondering,
on the
because
bridge.
they're on the same river, they're just further downstream and stuff, but.
This project initiated from a study that was done only of this bridge, and I have that report, but but I'd have to get with Neil to see if there's anything on the other bridge. I'd be happy to do that.
I do believe that the bridge that you're referring to had some repair work done to it a few years ago.
Got you, okay. Okay, thank you then.
But we'll get a definitive answer and email that out to you.
Okay.
Are there any other questions or discussion on this agenda item? Seeing none, as he noted, there is a typo in here. This will not be approved to move to county council. This will be approved here. Do we have any objection to approving the repairs? Seeing no objection, it is approved. And moving into agenda item 23, the approval of contract award to LGC Global Facility Management for the janitorial services for Beaufort County, RFP 040623, approximately $809,356.96. Mr. Larson, you're up again. Oh, can I get a motion and a second to open this up?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Larson, sorry.
Good afternoon again. This is an RFP process to hire new janitorial services for the county. I want to note that it is an RFP because they gave us proposals with unit prices, but they did not give us a low bid, best and final type of arrangement. There were 6 bidders. 3 of them are listed that we ended up going into a second round of in-person interviews with. So we had US&S, we had LGC Global, and we had On Point, and then there was 3 other bidders, A and B Cleaning, Laura's Cleaning, and Simmons Cleaning, that we did not choose to interview those final 3. This was for services for all county facilities, and they were asked to give us prices on 3-day-a-week, 4-day-a-week, and 5-day-a-week service. Another reason why we couldn't get a final quote, because we asked them for a variety of options. After interviewing the 3, we felt that LGC was the best qualified and had the best plan and management team and execution plan to do this project for us. We asked them to then, after discussion with Mark Rosenau, they came up with which facilities are 3-day, 4-day, 5-day, et cetera, and they came up with the best and final, the dollar amount that you see here in the proposal. We're recommending that LGC Global be awarded the contract.
All right, are there any questions? Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Okay,
Where is this LGC Global Facility headquarters?
Their headquarters is Michigan, but they have contracts all over the United States, and that was a question that we asked them, how you're going to be able to respond. If awarded this contract, they will be setting up a local office, and they will be hiring locals to be staff in this. The only people that would come from Michigan would probably be their upper management, and that would only be to get the contract up and off the ground. Very few people would actually transfer here from the company. They would set up local office here.
All right, the current contractor that we have now, did they put in bids for this,
Yes, A and B is our incumbent, and they did place a bid. Yes, sir.
and they weren't selected?
They were not selected for interview.
Okay.
Ms. Howard?
I know for years GSN client, consumers have participated in the program. Is that any consideration in this new contract?
It was, and I might defer to Audra if you need a more detailed explanation, but this scope of services was presented to them, and it's just too large for DSN to handle. And so the option was made to go out for proposals from outside companies.
Mr. Glover, do you have something?
Well, it was in the same vein, so what happens to those consumers that have been?
I'm sorry to interrupt. They're still in place. For the facilities they use, they're still in place, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
Oh.
I said all facilities. I should have been more detailed in my explanation. The current facilities are done by A and B, which is all the facilities not done by DSN.
Oh,
So-
okay.
I'm
I was
sorry.
confused,
That's my
'cause I
fault.
thought this was gonna eliminate.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Okay. That clears it
You're
up.
thinking the same way.
All right, are there any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, is there any objection to moving this forward to county council?
If I don't object, but is it going tonight or will it go later?
It does not appear to be.
Okay.
We don't have 3 things coming forward
Okay. I would like to suggest maybe some rewording, a little bit tweaking of it, so that we'll know that it's not every single building. Okay, thank you.
All right, that takes us to our last agenda item, item 24, which is the recommendation of award for IFB 051223 HVAC replacement at the Beaufort County Courthouse in the amount of $1.484536. Can I get a motion and a second to open this up?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second. Larry, was that you? Okay. Gotcha. Mr. Larson, you're back up again.
One last time.
Yeah.
This is a contract to award for construction I'm sorry, I've lost the contractor's name, Coastal Air Technologies. This is for the main courthouse. This is the building right behind us.
Oh, I
This
thought it
is-
was, oh,
No, this is the courthouse directly behind us, not the federal courthouse on Bay Street.
okay.
Oh, I thought it was on May too. So-
I'm glad you said
That one
that.
a long time ago.
Okay.
Okay,
No, so it's the main courthouse right behind us here.
okay.
So
Thank
it's a
you.
replacement of the rooftop units, the indoor air handlers, and the chiller. It's a very large chiller that's in the back of the building. The system's basically at the end of its useful life, so this is a complete replacement. As you see, the bid was $1.484536. And just so you know, once awarded, this equipment is probably 52 to 56 weeks out. So that's just the way the industry is right now, so we're wanting to get this awarded so that we can hopefully have this built in the spring, if not, this time next year maybe. So,
Are
there
there
was
any
two
questions?
bids, and they were very close to each other, but Coastal was the responsive low bidder.
Okay, are there any questions, Mr. Larson? Any discussion? All right, seeing none, is there any objection to move this forward to county council for approval? All right, seeing none, it will move forward to county council for approval.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the last thing on the agenda is adjournment. Seeing no further action before the committee, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
All right.